Hey everyone, I'm going to take a look at the new Player of the Week section on eFootball. There's no update today, no real new campaign or anything like that either. There's a few bits and bobs though. So firstly, the fourth and final weekly voting thing. You vote for your favourite play style this time and you get a position trainer, so that's nice. In the penalty game, if you have a look in the penalty game, they have updated the rewards. So in the pack where we had Tony Adams, David Beckham and a few highlights, we now have... Where is it? Here we go. We have double booster, epic legend, whatever you call it, Vitor Bayer. Looks like a good goalkeeper card. I've already got him, but that's an upgrade for me. And Showtime Conte with Fortress, so that's interesting. And then we've also got a few extra highlights. We've got Guardiola, Bernardo Silva, Alvarez. So I'll take a look at those in a separate video. I'll do a review of those. We do have new Match Pass players. So we've got Gyökeres from the value. I imagine that'd be quite a popular one. And Cole Palmer from the premium one. So if you somehow don't already have a good version of Palmer, there's an opportunity there. Unfortunately, it looks like the rewards are just the same as they always are. They've still not changed that. So yeah, that's a bit disappointing for me, but it is what it is. If we go to the shop section, have they updated the point store? Of course they haven't. They have added a new pack though, but it's not a pack. It's one of these managers that they're calling a pack just so they can charge coins for it. It's Frank Rijkaard, man who's at Barca. And he is possession and long ball counter. So if you like those two playing styles, this could be a very nice manager for you. One thing I've said before, I'll say it again, that these managers they're putting into the game as packs. You see Rijkaard, Lampard, Vieira, they're all former players who have legend cards in the game. That seems to be what they're doing. So they've obviously got the licenses for these guys as players, and I guess they're using that license to include the managers as well. So if you want to guess at which managers are going to be next, it looks like it'll be another former player who's a legend in the game already. So, yeah, I don't know who that's going to be. Maybe Van Basten, who's manager of Netherlands. Might be a few others as well. But, yeah, there we go. But if we go from there to the other type of packs. So, special player list. Okay. We've got a new Showtime skill, Aerial Fort. Yay. So, your defender's going to be better in the air. You've got Van Dijk, Diaz, Jonathan Tah, great. Player of the week I'll review in this video in a moment. Other new packs, basically it's just nominating contracts. So we've got Turkish League again, 6 players in there, and then we've got 8 players in the AFC Asian qualifier. So we've got a bunch of 3, 4 and 1 5-star card in there. They don't have a club affiliation, so it's a little bit underwhelming for me. Quantity wise, overall, a bit disappointing. There are a few decent looking cards in here, but yeah, only 6 in the 5-star pack. It's mid-season MVPs. Only 6 from Turkey and 8 from there. Yes, a few decent looking cards in there, but I'd like more choice. But I will be doing a separate video, like I say, reviewing those. So yeah, watch out for that video, and I'll include Match Pass in that as well. One thing to note on the free legend pack here. So they did tell us 26 spins on this. We've had 24. So as expected, there are 2 more spins on this. So 2 things to note on that. So firstly, those 2 free spins are of course in the usual place and objectives as part of this festive campaign thingy, and you get them basically by beating the AI a load of times. You just got to win a load of AI matches, so pretty easy, although if you're not a fan of playing the AI it could be pretty boring, but you can sim them of course. And the other thing to note on that free legend pack, which is quite interesting, is that if you go to My League, in My League they've updated the legends that you can get on loan, and they include Schneider. So you can actually try out Schneider if you're not decided yet. If you've been thinking about maybe Schneider, give him a try in My League. So that's quite interesting as well. So yeah, that might help you to make a decision on which free legend to get. So on to Player of the Week, and I'll review this pack now. As always, I'll put timestamps in the description for each player. So if you want to hear about any particular players, click in the description. There'll be links to it. It'll take you straight to them. No 4 stars this week, all 5 stars. How generous. Let's start with the lowest rated, and it will be Ross Barkley. So Ross Barkley has his face scan. He's a box-to-box. He's had DMF added. So he was semi-proficient DMF. That's now fully proficient. You can, of course, train other trainable versions of him. The only highlight, or not highlight, whatever you call it, trending, the only other kind of feature version that's not trainable we've had of Barkley was the Player of the Season one that did have that fully proficient. So it's not necessarily a massive difference, but the way this card has been built is very much more as a DMF than a CMF or AMF than he normally is. If you compare this card to his Player of the Season card, this one's really better suited to DMF. He's got more in his physical and his defending, bit less in his finishing though, but skill-wise, he's got interception and blocker over that card. So yeah, it's better suited to playing DMF than pretty much any version of Barkley, to be honest. And if you're looking at him as a DMF, he is better than the Player of the Season one. CMF, arguably a bit better, pretty similar. AMF, not sure. Like I say, the finishing is better on the Player of the Season card. But yeah, on the whole, arguably better than the Player of the Season one, but just, you know, attributes kind of shuffled around a little bit. It's better than the only other feature version of Barkley that we've had that was in one of those new transfer packs when he joined Villa. This is better than that one. So yeah, it's a good looking version of Barkley. Compared to his GP card, he's had a pretty good boost across the board. Obviously his GP card is still a CMF, so if you go on auto allocation, then it's obviously built as a CMF. This is better still, to be honest. It's a nice boost from his GP card, even if the GP card is trained as a CMF. If you try and train the GP card as a DMF, this is definitely better. So yeah, whichever way you look at it, it's a good upgrade from his GP card. As I mentioned, interception and blocker have been added there. They've also added fighting spirit, and they've also added one-touch pass. So some interesting skills there, good skills, not just as a DMF. If you're playing as a CMF as well, box to box, that's definitely an improvement on his skills. What they've taken away is knuckle shot, dipping shot, acrobatic finishing, I think, and Rabona. So yeah, some people might miss some of those skills, but I think on the whole, the trade that we've had here to lose those skills and get one-touch pass, interception, fighting spirit, and blocker, I think that's a great trade. Skill-wise, I think he's much better equipped now to play DMF and CMF. I still don't think his defensive attributes are great. So for me personally, I don't see him as a DMF. I think I see him more as a CMF. But the one immediate concern, I mean, his balance isn't great still, but the stamina as well. He's going to get tired. He's going to get tired pretty quick as well. So yes, you know, he's over 30. You know, you can kind of understand that. But regardless, that is a concern on any box-to-box CMF or DMF. As an AMF, could still use him as an AMF. You can use all his cards in an AMF. He's certainly pretty well equipped there. He's got the skills. Attacking awareness and finishing, maybe arguably a bit on the low side. Certainly attacking awareness, but technically very sound. He's not the slowest, but he's not the quickest either. Physically strong, which is good. But yeah, I think it's just one of these cards where you're gonna look at the positions he's got, and you just got to ask yourself which of those positions is he best in. Where you're going to get the most value. As a DMF, where he's not the strongest defensively, even if they've added those skills. And they've definitely boosted his defensive attributes and physical. As a CMF, when he's going to get tired so quickly. As an AMF, awareness a bit on the low side, balance low as well. There's 1 or 2 reasons why he wouldn't quite fit any position, to be honest. I think for me personally, I would maybe have him on the bench, bring him off the bench second half as a centre midfielder, or even start him and just take him off by about the hour mark, something like that. But yeah, it just depends on where you think he fits into your team. But certainly it's a good version of Barkley. They've boosted him in certain ways. He's much better equipped defensively and physically than he normally is, with the skills especially. So yeah, weakness isn't any position, but certainly plenty of qualities there with Barkley, and for a lot of people who fits into your team. And like I say, even maybe as a substitute, when you bear in mind the stamina being a bit low, he could be used one to pick up, and it's not a bad card at all, just not perfect in any position, but I think for a lot of people it could be a pretty nice one. And next is our goalkeeper. We've got Lucas Perri. He's got a face guy. He's a defensive keeper. He's tall. He's about 6'5", I'll make that. Only standard form. He's playing for Lyon these days, so he should be getting some live update. Obviously, he's got it this week, of course. Pretty solid looking. So we've actually had a Player of the Week version of him before when he was at Botafogo in Brazil. The overall rating was 1 higher, and some of his goalie attributes were higher, but his reflexes were way lower. So this, for me, even though the overall rating is 1 lower, I think this is a better goalkeeper overall because the reflexes are decent, very decent. They were not, I think, about 80 on the previous one. We've also had a trainable version of him when he was at Botafogo. Overall rating about the same, but it comes mostly from his jumping. As we know by now, Player of the Week goalkeepers always have terrible jumping. So the goalkeeper attributes in this one a bit better, especially the reflexes. That trainable version of Perri, the reflexes were awful. So this, for me, maybe not the highest rated, but this for me is the best version of him, of Lucas Perri that we've had. He's had a good boost from his GP card as well. They've also added low punt, so he's got a low punt as well as long throw. So yeah, it's a solid goalkeeper card, not an amazing one. The awareness isn't going to quite hit 90 with the game plan boost. Catching and prowling, not terrible, but could be higher. Reflexes are good. Reach, he's a tall guy, so not a massive issue, but it could be higher. So yeah, in some ways not the best keeper, but he's pretty solid on the whole. I don't see any major weaknesses there. I think it's just one of these goalkeeper cards where, you know, if you don't have any goalkeeper options, he could certainly do a job for you, but probably most people would consider that he's not as good as what you've already got. So not a terrible card, but not an amazing one either. And next up is Amir Murillo from Marseille. I'm not familiar with this guy in real life. no face scan. That looks nothing like him. Or does it? I don't know. Yeah, so we've got a centre-back. He's normally a right-back. So he's normally a right-back with a full-back finisher playing style. They've changed him to a centre-back, made him an extra front man. He's normally semi-proficient centre-back, so they've made him fully proficient for this card at centre-back. Still got right-back, though. First time I've got a featured version of this guy. Compared to his GP card, they've taken away a bit of speed and stamina. You can kind of understand that if he's changed from a right-back to a centre-back, so I'm not going to criticise for that. They've boosted his physicals, his defensives, his low pass. Pretty good boost across the board really from his GP card, to be honest. And also, or just know his inconsistent form, by the way. So when he's not on A or B form, that's a bit of a concern. But yeah, skill-wise, another big boost here because they've thrown a bunch of skills in. They've thrown in through passing. They've thrown in weighted pass, pinpoint crossing. So he's gone from right back to centre back and now he can cross, okay? But also man marking and interception. So interesting selection of skills there. He's lacking, what's he lacking as a centre back? Heading, blocker, sliding tackle, that's about it. Some good skills as a right back. I think that's the question with this guy. Is he a centre back now? Is he better as a right back? Well, defensively, he's rubbish as a centre back. So for me personally, yes, there are some qualities there. The pace as a centre back is fantastic. Down the left, he's decent technically for a centre-back and he's got some good skills as well, but down the middle is the most important thing. And as a centre-back, he's nowhere near good enough for me. The jumping and physical are just about passable, but they're not great. He's only 6 foot as well. So, yes, 1 or 2 qualities there as a centre-back, but for me, the weakness is mainly with the most important defensive attributes here. It's just not good enough. So the question for me is, can you use him in his normal position as a right-back? I think the answer to that is yes, and that just depends what kind of right-back you like. If you want an attacking right-back, horrible on the ball, I'm not so sure. You know, the balance isn't great either. His passing and crossing is not going to be brilliant, although he does have through passing, weight pass, pinpoint crossing. So as a kind of attacking fullback, or quite a neutral one, because he won't have an active plan as a right back, you could get away with him. If you don't mind the fact he's horrible on the ball, you could certainly get away with him because the pace as a right back is fine. He's physically very strong, even if his balance is a bit dodgy. Stamina is just about okay. Defensively, he's strong for an attacking fullback. But I think as a defensive fullback, that's where people might get the most value out of this guy. If you like a real defensive fullback to just stay back and defend, if you want these people who plays 3 CBs in the back 4, if you're that, you know, if that's your jam, I think if you play this guy as a right back and you put the defensive instruction on him, got the pace, physically strong, defensively pretty strong, all over 80 when he gets your game plan boost. Yes, he's not great on the ball, but I think if that's your kind of defensive fullback, I don't think you'll mind that too much. And he's got some pretty decent skills as well. So as a centre back for me, absolutely not. As a right back, if you played him without an active playing style, as a kind of fairly neutral but more attacking than defensive fullback, then he could do a job even if he's not he's not great at all on the ball there. But I think as a defensive right back, that's where most people will get value from this guy. If you like a very defensive right back as a kind of auxiliary centre back with the skills, with the attributes, I think if that's your kind of player, if that fits into your system, then you could get some real value out of this guy. But like I say, as a centre back, not for me. But defensive right back for me, that's where you could get value out of this guy, and it could be a valuable card for you. Next, we have Tammy after AC Milan's Super Cup win over Inter. So, got his usual playing style. He's still got inconsistent form, which is pretty annoying, but it is what it is. Obviously, this week is fine. Anytime he's an ALB, then that won't matter at all. What have they really changed with this Tammy Abraham? So, we had a Champions League Player of the Week version quite similar. Quite recently, it was similar. The real difference between this one and the recent Champions League one is that they gave the Champions League one a nice boost on his low pass, and they gave him through passing as well. So his passing was much better on the Champions League one, but this one, it's got heading, aerial superiority, and super sub. So it depends what you want from your striker. So if you want a striker who's good in the air, this will be a better version of Abraham for you than that previous one from the Champions League pack. I've had a bunch of trainable versions of Abraham. There's been a bunch of them that actually go slightly higher rated than this one, but it's not a massive difference really. I do think this one's still a pretty good version of Abraham, albeit there was a legend version which is the best version, unsurprisingly. But yeah, it's just, to be honest, comparing it to other featured versions of Abraham, it's pretty much just another Abraham. There's no massive difference really in terms of the attributes. Just the fact they've changed those skills and given those aerial skills, I think could be a difference maker for a lot of people. In terms of the attributes from his GP card, we lost a bit of balance, gained a bit on his physicals, a little bit better on the ball, passing and finishing as well. It's a decent boost from his GP card. And like I say, heading and aerial alongside super sub. He's already got acrobatic finishing. Obviously, he's got first time shot. Soul control's nice on a big rangy striker. So yeah, this could be a pretty useful striker. He's good at finishing, or decent at finishing. 85 finishing. I'd like to be a bit higher. The attacking range should hit 90 with the game plan boost. He's not too bad on the ball for a big tall striker, about 6'3". Balance is dodgy. Be careful with this guy. Make sure you set him up carefully before you get any shots away. Don't try passing or shooting off balance because it won't go well. Pace and goal punch, I'd like a bit more on him. But yeah, he's kind of just about okay in a bunch of areas. Decent in some areas. It's a decent Abraham card. It's not a brilliant one. I mean, he didn't do a great deal in the Super Cup match goes into, obviously, apart from scoring that goal. So I wouldn't expect an amazing card. But yeah, it's a card where it's not amazing. I don't think he's going to get straight into many people's teams, but maybe it's just as a super sub. The fact that they've given him a heading and aerial, because in my experience, this guy is very decent in the area, even though his attributes and his skills suggest he's not going to be. He seems to be one of these cards who, when it comes to getting on the other crosses, he plays above his stats, in my experience. So yeah, some attributes here, like I say, the finishing, the pace, just not quite what I'd want from a goal poacher, but they're not too far off. He's got the awareness. He's not too bad on the ball, and he's going to be better in the air than he normally is. So not an amazing striker card, but with the aerials, the fact he's a super sub could be a useful one for a lot of people to put in their squads, especially for the Italian League challenge. So yeah, could be a very decent striker for a lot of people. And before I forget, of course, he's got his face scan. So yeah, it's not an amazing striker card, this, but it could be a decent one. And the fact he's better in the air than he normally is could appeal to a lot of people. And now we have our first booster in this pack, and it is box-to-box Saelemaekers. So, got his face scan. Normally a cross specialist, Saelemaekers. This time he's a box-to-box. There have been two trainable versions of Saelemaekers before. Both of those were a cross specialist. One of them went to 93, the other went to 95. This one's 93 before the boost, but when you boost him, he goes to 95. So when he's boosted, he's comparable to the better version we've had. When he's not boosted, comparable to the worst of the two. But yeah, when he's fully boosted, he does compare to the best version we've had of him. Pretty similar to that card. Obviously, his stats kind of shuffled around a little bit. Main difference is that this one has better defensive and physical attributes than that previous one, the 95 one. That's where he's had most of his boost ready from his GP card. Skill-wise, had a big boost there as well. So, what have we got added here? Crikey, first time shot, one-touch pass, low lofted pass, interception, sliding tackle. So, interesting set of skills that we've got here now. One-touch and pinpoint. Got some shooting skills as well. Like I say, from his GP card, the physicals and defensives the biggest boost from his GP card, really, but still not that strong. He's got right back. Would you play him as a right back? I don't know. Finishing's had a nice boost as well, actually. It's a decent boost on the whole. So yeah, what we're looking at here, we've got right back, and you can play him as a winger on the right or the left. Box to box will be an active playing style, right mid and left mid, not any of his other positions. So if you use him as a right back, no active playing style, got the pace, physical and balance just about borderline okay. Stamina a bit iffy, even on A form. Defensive's not great. He has been given interception and sliding tackle, but as a very, very attacking right back, yeah, I don't know. He's certainly got some qualities, but the qualities don't include defending. So if you're not bothered about defending, you just want a right back to bomb forward and attack, could do a job for you for sure. But if you like your fullbacks to be able to defend, not so sure. Right mid or left mid? On the ball, he's kind of all right. Low and lofted pass, I mean, he's got pinpoint crossing, so his lofted pass will be alright. Low pass isn't brilliant. He does have one touch pass, but not through passing. I don't know why they made him a box to box, to be honest. I think cross specialist still would have suited him, really. Obviously, he got into the box and scored. He got an assist as well, so maybe that explains it. Could have made him a whole player, to be honest, but yeah, he is a box to box. It's an interesting play style on wide midfielders. I've got it on a couple. De La Cruz, nominating contract one, or was that match pass? And Oxlade Chamberlain I've got as well. He's a box to box right or left midfielder. I quite like it, to be honest. They will make attacking ones, but they will track back quite a lot as well. And if you've got a player who's going to be making a lot of attacking runs and tracking back a lot, that stamina even on A form is not great. He's going to get tired. So yeah, as a wide midfielder, pace, yeah. On the ball and end product, maybe-ish. Not brilliant though. As a wide forward, again, how good is he on the ball? What kind of end product has he got? He's not bad, but he's just not brilliant. So, yeah, it's a card where I think if you're a fan of this guy, or if you're a Roma fan, it could be a pretty nice one to pick up. But looking at the kind of the balance of his attributes, the way they've built him, for some people could be a useful one with the playing style as well. Though I think it's just going to be one that, for a lot of people, maybe just doesn't quite fit into your team and doesn't quite do it for you. But if he works for you, the strengths he's got and the playing style and the positions he's got, you could find a use for him for sure. He does have qualities. He's quick. He's got a bit of end product. They have really boosted him in terms of his skills, to be fair. So, yeah, a few ways you could use him. I don't think in any position he's going to be amazing, but could be a useful one to have. And certainly if you're a fan of Saelemaekers, if you're a Roma fan, or if you're Belgian, could be a pretty fun one to have. But yeah, it's going to be it's a very particular card. I just don't think he's that amazing in any position, but just kind of a useful one for a lot of people, I think. And now we have another Cody Gakpo. We just had a Netherlands pack added to the game. He's in there. We've got him in Player of the Week now. So normally a deep line forward. They made him a prolific winger. Most of his cards seem to either be a striker or a winger. He seems to bounce between deep line forward and prolific winger these days. We've had quite a few versions of him at this point. We've had a World Cup Player of the Week that was slightly better. There was a recent Player of the Week when he played for the Netherlands one week that's quite similar. Kind of attributes shuffled around a little bit. He's had a couple of training cards from when he was at PS3. They weren't so great, though. The one in the new Netherlands pack, if you train it as a left winger, this one's a bit better physically. More physical strength, but pretty similar on the whole, really. Generally speaking, though, the best trainable versions of Gakpo, if you train them as a left wing forward, I think they're slightly better. Quite a few of them. And as a centre forward as well, because you can't train this one, obviously. So, yeah, is it a good card? Yeah, it's pretty decent, but I think if you've got a good version of Gakpo, you probably don't really need it. If you compare it to his GP card, if you train his GP card as a left winger, we've got more finishing, we've got a bit more pace and balance. They've got a nice boost on his physicals, physical strength, jumping, heading. So yeah, it's a decent version of Gakpo. Just it's not that exciting to me. He's got unwavering form. I'm not sure how long he's been unwavering, but he's got unwavering. Skill-wise, what they've done, we've lost Marseille turn and weighted pass. We've gained first time shot and fighting spirit. So yeah, decent section of skills. You've got a few skills, soul control, and then we've got long range curler and first time shot. Through passing, pinpoint crossing. Yeah, it's a decent card on the whole. It's just not an amazing one. He's decent on the ball. He's got good attacking awareness for a wide man. He's not great at passing. Yes, he's got through passing and pinpoint crossing, but they're just going to improve his low enough to pass attributes, which are not good. So he's not going to have a lot of end product when it comes to creating. But finishing 83 is good though, with first time shot and long range curler. Pace decent, kicking power decent, physical strength decent, balance not great. He's about 6'2", so don't know how great he's going to feel on the ball. Yeah, it's a decent card. I don't want to sound like I'm being negative, but it's just not a particularly exciting one because we've had quite a few cards of Gakpo. Player of the Week's trainable ones, and I just don't see anything particularly exciting about this one compared to other versions. But yeah, unwavering form, he's got his face scan. There are qualities there. Decent additions to his skills with first time shot, certainly. But yeah, I think we know what to expect from Gakpo at the moment. Like I say, the work version of in the Netherlands pack is very similar if you train it as a left wing forward, but as a striker you can make it better. You do have some more physical and aerial strength with this one, so yeah, as a centre forward I wouldn't use him there. Attacking awareness is way too low, but left wing though, decent, just a decent card. Not great with his passing and crossing, but everything else pretty decent, except the balance. So yeah, it's just another Gakpo card really. It's not a particularly exciting one, but if you don't have a good version of him, it'll be a very decent one to pick up. I just don't see enough about this card to really get too excited about, really. And next we have Lisandro Martínez in Player of the Week again. It's not long since he was in the last, but I'm not surprised he's in since he scored the goal against Liverpool. So got his face scan, of course. Build up his usual playing style. Only standard form. Yeah, this is a reasonable version of Martínez. The obvious thing to compare him to first is the recent Player of the Week card. So before you get the boost on the previous Player of the Week version, because that was a booster, this one basically has a bit more speed. But they're pretty similar really, but when you do get the boost with the previous one when he's in A form, it is better, mainly with the defending, to be honest. So yeah, not quite as good as that previous Player of the Week card. If you compare it to previous trainable versions of Martínez that we've had, they tend to be pretty similar overall, but they tend to be stronger defensively, but with a bit less pace. That's the main difference, but you can train them, obviously. And if you compare it to his GP card, defensives have been nerfed a bit from his GP card. But apart from that, it's what they tend to do with these centre-back Player of the Week cards. The right columns have a nice boost, especially with his pace and kicking power. So a nice boost athletically on this Lisandro card. Bit of a boost down the left as well. They boosted his attacking awareness and finishing, obviously, after scoring that goal. So, yeah, on the whole, I mean, nice pace on him. If you wanted the version of Lisandro with more pace, maybe a bit nice one for you, but they've nerfed him a bit with his defensive attributes. Would you maybe use him as a DMF? I'm not sure he's quite good enough technically, but if you don't mind these being in the 70s, then yeah, maybe. Skill-wise, what they've done, taken away Marseille turn and weighted pass. I think it's the same ones that they took from Gakpo, and they've given him rising shot and first time shot. So yeah, I kind of understand. I can understand rising shot. I'm not sure that he really needs first time shot for that goal. Yes, he did hit it first time technically, but he kind of waited a couple of seconds before he hit that shot. So personally, I'd have preferred if they'd maybe left weighted pass in there and just given him rising shot. But yeah, we have lost weighted pass, so that's a bit of a loss, certainly, if you want to play him as a DMF. But although you could still do it there, like I say, if you don't mind these technicals being below 80. Yeah, I don't know. It's doable. A lot of people don't mind that on a defensive midfielder. If you want a defensive midfielder just sitting in front of the defence, you just want to defend. A lot of people who do like that kind of DMF will be fine with these attributes. If that's the case, then yes, it's a loss. You know, not having weighted pass anymore, but you got one touch pass, low lofted pass. Obviously, the defensive skills could do that. As a centre back, we've got aerial there, but obviously he's tiny. The jump is 87, so he's going to hit 90 for jumping, but he's still not going to be great in the air with that lack of height. But otherwise, defensively, man marking, interception blocker, sliding tackle, fighting spirit. Only really missing heading and acrobatic clearance, really. So he got a good selection of skills on him there. But like I say, most trainable versions are better defensively. The previous player of the week overall was a bit better, even if he didn't quite have the speed. So it's not a bad version of Lisandro Martínez, but if you don't, yeah, it's just not great. And the fact they nerfed him a bit defensively, yes, he's still alright defensively, but he's just not brilliant. So it's a question of how you want to use him. If he's a centre back for you, height's a major issue. Defensive attributes, not quite where I'd want him to be. It's not a bad card, it's just a couple of slight concerns as a centre back. As a DMF, if you think these attributes are okay, could do a job for you there. For me personally, I want these attributes to be quite a bit higher. So yeah, we've had better versions of Martínez, but it's not a bad version at all. It's just it's one of these cards where obviously they've boosted the centre back to be better at getting forward based on the fact he got forward and scored against Liverpool, and that's just not really that practical in the game really. But he's got qualities. It is a decent version of him. It's just in the most important areas he's a bit lacking for me. So not a terrible card, but it doesn't quite make the grade for me. I don't think it's too brilliant on the whole. And now we have Booster Mbeumo. So Brentford absolutely smashed Southampton away from home. Mbeumo's great, 2 goals and an assist. And this is a good version of Mbeumo. It's an upgrade on his previous player of the week, especially when he's boosted. The boost is on ball control, finishing, kicking power, physical contact. It's better than the trainable one that was in a Premier League pack. And it's pretty similar to a trainable one that was in one of those kind of pay-to-win packs. So it's either a Legend pack or a Showtime pack. The boost maybe gives this one the edge overall, just slightly, albeit that those other two are trainable. But yeah, I'd say this is probably near enough the best version of Mbeumo that we've had. If you compare him to his GP card, we've lost a bit of dexterity, so attacking awareness, acceleration, balance down a bit. I mean, he was man of the match, 2 goals and an assist as a forward, and he loses some attacking awareness, acceleration, and balance, whatever. And that's even with the A form boost as well. But he's gained a bit of physical contact, finishing. It's a decent boost overall. Like I say, it's near enough the best version of Mbeumo. Skill-wise, another interesting one here. So we've lost scissors feint, cut behind and turn, dipping shot, heel trick. Heel trick's a bit of a shame. We've gained double touch. The skills will be pleased about that. We've gained first time shot, which is good. We've gained through passing, which is good. And we've gained fighting spirit. So 2 goals and an assist in a 5-0 win against the worst team in the league, and he's gained fighting spirit. Why? That's a strange one, but yeah, certainly first time shot, through passing, important ones for the end product. And like I say, the skillers will be pleased about double touch. So we've got a really good section of skills here on a wide forward. Double touch, soul control, long range curler, long range shooting, first time shot. We've got the shooting skills, through passing, pinpoint crossing, bit of end product. We'll check his attributes in a moment though. Outside curler's a nice one to have. Shame we don't have heel trick anymore, but it's not the end of the world. Penalty specialist, and of course fighting spirit. So when you're really up against it in a 5-0 win against the worst team in the league, fighting spirit will help a lot. But yeah, low and lofted pass aren't great though. So through passing and pinpoint crossing, as I said just now with Gakpo, not going to make a huge difference. He's not going to be great at passing or crossing, but they'll just make him a bit better. But I think the main thing with this guy is that pace, decent on the ball, good awareness and finishing, and with those shooting skills, coming off that right flank as a right wing onto his left foot, could be very effective at scoring goals for you. So yeah, even without the boost, pretty tidy. Certainly with the boost, it's a tidy card. The pace, like I say, good kicking power as well. When he's on A form with a maximum game plan boost, that'll be 90 kicking power, and that does help. That really does help. So he's going to have a very nice finish on him. A bit of physical strength as well. Interesting getting that boost. Not many wingers have that, and with the way the game is these days, that does help. Balance isn't brilliant, but it's decent enough. Like I say, he's decent on the ball. It'd be nice if that dribbling was a bit better. He's just going to be just shy of 90 with the maximum game plan boost, but he will be decent on the ball. So yeah, in a few areas decent, in some areas pretty good. It is just about the best version of Mbeumo that we've had. So especially when you get this guy in A form as a right winger, maybe not an elite level card, maybe not one of the best cards around for right wing, but it's certainly very usable. And especially when it comes to a shooting, coming off that right flank onto his left foot, getting shots away, could be very decent. So yeah, not the most amazing right wing card, but it's a pretty decent one. Certainly if you like this guy, and before I forget, does have a face scan. Yeah, on A form, could be a pretty tidy card. They made some pretty good changes with his skills. And yeah, one or two weird decisions, which are a bit of a downside with this card, but on the whole, it's a pretty good one. So if you get this card, especially for the English League Challenge, could be a pretty useful one to keep hold of as an option, but in general, could be a good option for a lot of people. And next is Anthony Gordon. So this is a really strange one. You would think as a Newcastle fan I'd be excited, but I'm not. They've changed him to a creative playmaker for some reason. Normally a prolific winger, so he's a creative playmaker. They recently changed his position, so I don't know why they've done this, but I think at some point recently, whenever it was, they've taken away right wing, right midfield, and attacking midfield. And so all he's got now is left wing. And that's strange because over the past year, he's actually played quite a few games as a striker and a right winger for Newcastle, quite effectively as well. So when he starts to play a few times right wing and centre forward, they take away right wing and centre forward. Why have they done that? Just really, really weird. But yeah, you've got an Anthony Gordon card that can only play as a left winger, and he's a creative playmaker when I don't think he really played like a creative playmaker, and I don't think he even played that well, to be honest. Even as a Newcastle fan, he had a good game, but he's been good recently for a while, for about a month or so. He's just been pretty good. Not been amazing, but yeah, got his face scan. Yeah, for whatever reason, they put him in Player of the Week. I guess he scored, but maybe they put him in because he was so brave to get absolutely crafted by Kulusevski in the area and for some reason not get a penalty. But anyways, we've got an Anthony Gordon left winger card, creative playmaker, unwavering form. We already had that, of course. What's changed here? It's a weak foot accuracy. That's what's changed. So they put his weak foot up by 1. That's more accurate than normal. That's good. What else have they done? Let's compare him to other cards. So Player of the Season, Anthony Gordon, pretty similar. Actually, some attributes shuffled around a bit, but it's around about the same level as the Player of the Season one. A couple of Player of the Week ones previously. There's one that's fairly similar, not as high rated, but it looks pretty similar. It's not far off. The other one, not quite as good as this one. I had a couple of trainable ones, not quite as good as this one really, but not a million miles away. The main difference with those, though, is that the previous versions of Gordon do have more positions that they can play, and he tends to be a prolific winger, whereas now he's a creative playmaker. So whether you prefer that playmaker, maybe that might make this card more appealing to you, or it might be the other way around, as it is for me, because I've got a trainable one that's a prolific wing with more positions, and I just don't have any interest in this one for that reason. But yeah, it's still a good card. Compared to his GP, he's had a decent boost to a lot of stats. His balance is up a bit. Still needs to be higher. I don't know why it's so low. It should be higher. Bit more physical strength than he normally does. Defending is better than normal. Great. Finishing up a bit as well. They've taken 1 point away from his dribbling. Fair enough. And as with Mbeumo, we've got fighting spirit. I guess fighting spirit is because he got clattered in the box and carried on for a bit, even though his face was busted. But yeah, it's a decent version of Gordon. As always, he's got some pretty good skills here end product wise. He's got long range curler, dipping, long range shooting, one touch passing, through passing, pinpoint crossing. But look at the attributes again. It's no point having passing and crossing skills when your low and lofted pass attributes are low. So he's still not going to be great with his low and lofted pass. But again, as with Mbeumo, we've got decent awareness and finishing. Decent on the ball as well, even if they've taken a point away from dribbling for no apparent reason. Good pace. Balance has been boosted, still not great though. But the thing is, you look at the profile, pace, awareness and finishing, decent on the ball. Is that what you want on a creative playmaker? No, you want a creative playmaker to be good at passing, and he's not. So, yeah, if you use him as a winger where you want to focus on getting, coming inside into his right foot and scoring goals, could be decent. Like with Mbeumo, we've got pace, decent on the ball, we've got the awareness and finishing, we've got some good skills. Just lacking first time shot really, but even though he's got one touch pass, 3 passing, pinpoint crossing, as a creative playmaker, those attributes aren't high enough. So I just don't really understand this card, to be honest. And that's coming from a Newcastle fan. So yes, he's got some qualities. It is objectively, statistically, it's a pretty good card, but I just don't think the profile matches the playing style. He's not got all the positions that he had on previous versions of him. So I think for a lot of people, this card just doesn't really make a lot of sense. But certainly there are qualities there. And if you do want a good version of Gordon, you don't really have one, especially if you'd like him as a creative playmaker, then yeah, it could be a good card for you. Just for me, just some weird decisions I've made with this one. But it is a good card. I just don't think that many people are going to really find him that effective. And now we have about our 20th Jude Bellingham Player of the Week card. So he's a whole player. So I'm pretty sure it's his regular playing style these days. We've had a lot of Player of the Week Jude Bellingham cards. This isn't the best one. We've had a few that are slightly better in terms of the numbers, but this is a whole player. They're not always a whole player, and they don't always have through passing, which this one does have. They've added that again for this one. So maybe not the best version of Bellingham, but all things considered, it's certainly one of the better ones. It's a good card. You compare them to trainable versions. We've had a bunch of Showtime versions, which are obviously better. So if you've got one of the Showtime ones, you'll have a better version. But yeah, outside the Showtime, it's pretty comparable to the best trainables, to be honest. One in the most recent England pack was arguably slightly better, and it's obviously trainable, so you might prefer that one. But yeah, like I say, this is just one of these cards where it's not the best version. There have been better ones, but it's still a good one. And it might come down to the playing style, the fact it's got through passing. Compared to his GP card, he's actually a little bit worse on the ball, and he's lost a bit of bounce as well, which is very frustrating. But outside of that, most of his attributes have been boosted by a few points. So on the whole, it's a decent version of Bellingham. Skill-wise, we've lost rising shot and acrobatic finishing, a bit of a shame. We've gained long range curler and, like I say, through passing. So yeah, all things considered, not the best version of Bellingham. There will be quite a few people with a better one, but it's a pretty good one. Skillers will like the skills he's got, because he's got the combination for the ball roll, double touch, long range curler, as I mentioned, and first time shot as well. So some shooting skills there, one touch pass and through passing, outside curler, fighting spirit. Yeah, he's a pretty good version of Bellingham. He's decent on the ball, good passing. He's got very nice finishing for an attacking midfielder. Good attacking awareness as well. That's in the 80s before your game plan boost on a whole player. That's great. Pace on Bellingham's alright. Kicking power's alright. Bit of physical strength. Balance isn't brilliant, but it could be worse. Good stamina. You need that on a whole player. Yeah, all things considered, it's a good version of Bellingham. I think, to be honest, it just comes down to what version of Bellingham you've already got. I think most people already have one. If you've got one of the best versions of Bellingham, especially one of the Showtime ones, then you might not need this one, but it may depend on the playing style. But if you don't already have a good version, or if you have a version that's not as good as this one, it's a good solid card. I don't think it's an amazing one. I think there will be better versions of Bellingham, which, as there already have been. But the fact they're getting through passing, he's got a good selection of skills there. Whole player playing style as an attacking midfielder. It's a very tidy card. Centre midfielder, he's got a bit of defensive ability, he's got a bit of physical strength as well, but no defensive skills, so I'm not sure about centre mid. If you're going to play him as a centre mid, it'd be a very attack-minded centre mid, in which case you might as well make him an attacking mid. So yeah, as an attacking mid, it is a pretty nice version of Bellingham. It's not the best, we've had a few better ones, but with the skills, with the attributes, even though they've slightly nerfed him in a couple of areas, it is a good version of Bellingham, and for a lot of people it could be a pretty nice card to pick up. And before I almost forget again, of course he has his face scan, so yeah. Not the best, but it's a good version of Bellingham. Pretty tidy card, that. And we finish up with our final booster in this pack. We've got Savinho from Man City, cross specialist. I'll show you his face scan quickly before I forget again, or almost forget again. So he's got his face scan, he's a cross specialist, he's got a booster. Let's just activate the booster straight away. His low and lofted pass, his curl, and his king bell has got to be crossing, isn't it? Oh, passing. Okay, so it's the passing booster. And it very much boosts his passing, low and lofted. So it is a pretty nice version, nice looking version of Savinho. As I mentioned, he's a cross specialist now, normally a prolific winger. We had a player of the season version, I think, in the La Liga pack that's pretty similar overall. The boost for me gives this one a slight edge over that one, albeit you might not like the cross specialist playing style. Probably comes down to the playing style more than anything. Had a couple of trainable versions of Savinho. This one is slightly better, especially when it's boosted, mainly through the passing though. Otherwise, the attributes are shuffled around slightly with those other two. Compared to his GP card, we lost a little bit of pace and a little bit of dribbling, but I think you can afford that, to be honest. When you get your game plan boost, the pace, speed and acceleration both still be in 90s. Dribbling's already at 90 for your game plan boost as well. Outside of that, decent boost, especially with the passing. That's the biggest boost, really. And when you get that A-form boost, especially, well up into the 80s, 84 and low end off the pass. It's obvious what type of card this is, and with the way they kind of balanced out his attributes, the play style they're giving him, I think this is a card where it does work. I'll criticise where it doesn't really work, like with Anthony Gordon. It just doesn't make sense to create a playmaker. But this Savinho card, as a cross specialist left wing, very nice looking. Skill-wise, we've just lost, I think it's Sombrero, and we've gained Flip Flap. So again, the skill is all we please, double touch, flip flap, soul control. So you've got your ball roll, double touch. But we've also got one touch pass and through passing. And he already had pinpoint crossing. So in terms of the skills, the passing, the crossing, he's built really nicely as a left winger to be putting crosses in with the pace, the dribbling, the end product. This is a really nice looking card and it works for me. Like I say, the attributes, the skills, the playing style, everything matches up nicely for me. If you like this type of winger, the playing style cross specialist will be active left mid, left wing, right wing, all his positions. So whatever position you play him in, he's going to stay out wide. He's going to be hugging the touchline and looking to get into a position to cross it. If you like your wingers to be kind of darting into the box like a prolific winger, this might not be the version of Savinho for you. It's still a really good card, but that playing style might not work for you. If the playing style does work for you though, if you like your wingers to be putting crosses in, if you like a bit of cross spam, you want a left footer on the left wing who can put crosses in, that's what this card is all about, and it could be a really nice one. The pace, the dribbling, he's got good balance. He's got the end product now with the skills as well to back it up. Unwavering form as well. This is a really nice looking card if it suits you. If this is your kind of winger, I think this is one of the best cards in this pack, and I think it could be a pretty exciting card. So yeah, a very nice card. It's just not going to suit everyone in terms of the playing style and the profile that he's got, but if it does work for you, this card for me is a pretty nice one. So there is your player of the week review. I think it's an alright selection, to be honest. I think, as we just looked at, Savinho for me, if he suits you, really nice looking card. Jude Bellingham, if you don't already have a better version, that's a pretty nice looking version of Bellingham. Gordon, technically a good card, just don't think the profile, the play style and all the rest just really match up together particularly well. And all the previous versions have more positions, so yeah, a weird Anthony Gordon card. Mbeumo, pretty good card. Lisandro Martínez, if you really want a good version, it's a pretty good card. It's just not an amazing one as a centre-back. Gakpo, good card, just nothing really exciting about it. I mean, there have been so many other versions and there's been a whole bunch of cards of Gakpo that are as good, if not slightly better. Saelemaekers, if you want a good version of him, it's a decent card. Just not an amazing one, and I'm just not sure what position he's really great in, but he could be useful one for quite a few people. Abraham, likewise, could be a useful one. He's not an amazing centre-forward. Some of the attributes not quite where I'd want to be for a goal poacher, but on the whole, could be useful one, especially when given that they boosted him in the air. So even better in the air than he normally is, and he is normally better in the air than he looks like he's going to be. So it could be a pretty tidy striker for a lot of people. Murillo, not as a centre back for me, but as a defensive right back, if you put that defensive instruction on him, you want to use a full back that way, he could be pretty effective. Perri, not an amazing keeper, it could be solid enough if you need a goalkeeper option. And then Barkley, got some qualities, again, just like with one or two other cards in this pack, not sure what position he'd be that great in, because whatever position you play him in, there's one or two weaknesses there, but he does have qualities. He's had a nice boost on the whole, so it's a good version of Barkley, all things considered. So yeah, it's not an amazing pack, to be honest, but there are a few decent ones in there. So for a lot of people, it could be a nice one to pick up. Now I think Savinho and Bellingham for me are certainly the pick of the pack, and arguably Mbeumo as well. So yeah, not a brilliant selection, but there's a few decent ones in there. I'm going to save my free spin for the next stream. I'm going to try and do a stream tomorrow after lunch, I think. That'll be Friday after lunch, so I'll confirm that once I've planned that in the Discord, maybe it's on the community tab. So yeah, keep your eyes out for that. And as I mentioned, I will be doing a review of the nominating contract players that have been added today and the match pass players, and I'll review the new penalty game players as well. So keep your eyes out for those new videos. Thank you for watching this one. Hopefully you found it useful. Let me know who you've spun. Let me know what you think of the selection. And yeah, watch out for the stream and for the other pack review videos that will be coming up soon. So thanks again for watching, and I'll see you soon. Take it easy.